Here. Guerrero. Here. Hilbert. Here. Weaver. Here. Stahl. Here. Wood.
Here.
Mr. Downey, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Visitors.
We have Kendall King from King's Financial here with us tonight, and if you guys would like to, we could go ahead and jump into the working cash bond and school bus fleet transition so that he can get out of here before we go into the rest of our business. So I've kind of shared with you a little bit about the direction I think that we need to really look at going over the next few years of going from a leased fleet to a purchased fleet. And that will take some time and some capital to be able to accomplish that. Since we currently only have one bus that we own, we will have to transition to a fully purchased fleet over time. And instead of exhausting our reserves in uncertain times, I thought it would maybe be a good opportunity for us to look into purchase of a $1.5 million working cash bond. I've been talking to Kendall about this, and from looking over our levy and our current finances, thinks we have a pretty viable plan in order to do that without raising any tax rates or anything like that. We can maintain right where we're at. The only question would be, do we want to look at self-purchasing that working cash bond, or would we prefer to just finance that from an outside source like we have done the other ones? There is something to be said for doing it that way, as that kind of preserves liquidity and preserves the reserves that we have instead of tying them up in investments like we currently have with the debt certificate. That's kind of the way I'm more leaning towards right now, but still kind of crunching some numbers on that. That's not anything that we have to determine tonight. But I was going to go ahead and have Kendall walk you through kind of how things would go with this and what our process would be for those of you who have not been through this before, and kind of talk about our timelines and how we can proceed. So, Kendall, you want to go ahead and...
Yeah, that sounds good. So I've got a handout here. So appreciate the introduction. Dr. Field said, I'm Kendall King with King's Financial. I know there's a few familiar faces here on the board from some folks that have been here. The last time we did bonds a few years back for some of the projects. But just quick introduction to me. We're based out of Monticello, so we have lots of schools kind of here in the area. It's nice to be close to home here. And we do cover the whole state, and it's a big state, so we do a lot of driving. And appreciate the chance to kind of be close to home here and talk to you guys about your bonds. This first page here goes over statutory debt limits. So you take the district's equalized assessed valuation of $124 million. You get to add back in the TIF number and multiply that by 13.8%. That gives you just over $17 million of overall bonding capacity. I've got a couple of these too. Actually, I could do it here. I guess the follow on too. EAV stands for equalized assessed valuation, so that's the total taxable value of all the property located within the district. That's the combined sum of everything. That's your houses, that's your farm ground, your businesses, everything kind of combined. EAV is roughly 1/3 of fair market value. So if you multiply that 124 number by 3, that's roughly 375 is basically the fair market value of all the property, 375 million. That's everybody's combined houses, all combined farm ground, all that kind of stuff. Nowadays, you get a lot of tax revenue of things like wind farms or data centers or horse tracks and stuff like that, I've heard. So there's I don't know where all the tax revenue is coming from these days, but that's sort of the combined total, right? Anyways, the district has 3 bonds outstanding right now. We've got a 2019A, a 2019B, and a 2026A. The 2019B is an alternate revenue bond. So the alternate revenue bond does not count against your statutory debt limit. The 2019A and the 2026 debt certificate, those both do count against the debt limits. But even with that, the district still has almost $15 million of borrowing capacity So you really have a lot of room that you could be potentially borrowing up to. You're not going anywhere near your total limits. I've got a lot of districts that we work with that are maxing out that debt limit to go out and do construction projects and stuff like that. So you're in a pretty good spot that you have that much remaining capacity, that you're not sort of tapped out from a debt limit standpoint. The section in the green there shows the 1 cent county school facility sales tax, which the district is collecting just over $630,000 on last year's audit. That money is currently used, so bonds and debt certificates and all the different types of stuff, they get paid through two primary revenue streams. You have property taxes, and then you have the sales tax. And as of right now, the alternate revenue bonds and the debt certificates are paid by the sales tax, and then the Series 2019A is paid by property taxes. So what we are proposing in the form of a working cash bond, which is kind of what's on the agenda tonight to start the process, those are paid through property taxes. However, kind of what Dr. Field and I have kind of worked through is a plan to lower some other levies, specifically the IMRF and Social Security's levies, to make room for, when you put in this new bond, if you increase the bond levy, then if you lower a couple of those other levies to offset, you can keep the overall tax rate consistent with previous years. So that's kind of what we're looking at as far as the overall plan. There's a working cash fund limit that you can go through at the bottom. I won't go through all those numbers in detail, but basically you can go all the way up to $3.6 million in working cash. What's on the agenda for tonight is just $1.5 million. So the district would still have $2 million of remaining capacity after, assuming if it moved forward with this issuance, of remaining capacity left over in the form of working cash.
What funds did you say you would balance out with? IMRF and what?
And Social Security.
That's all one
Oh,
fund,
that's
which
one
is
fund.
Fund 50.
And how do you decide which one you're gonna?
To pull out of that one?
Yeah.
Is because our current balance in that is about roughly 3 years worth of operating funds within it. And so we have, actually, we probably need to spend it down, based on the excess balance that is within that. So that we would be able to get through roughly 2 years and still have another year left over. But that is when we would start in the third year, then levying some money back in there to make sure that we're able to take care of those obligations.
Sorry, Ken.
Okay. Yeah, good question. So if we go to page 2, that shows the district's existing alternate revenue bonds and debt certificates. So there's a Series 2019B in the orange. There's a Series 2026A debt certificate. That's what we just issued here in the blue. The two kind of fit together on the graph so you can see what that payment looks like. The total payment starts at just over $500,000 and then steps up by about 1% per year for about 6 years. And then it drops off when that debt certificate payment comes off. In terms of your total county school facility sales tax, the district is collecting around $630,000 off of last year's audit. So you've got a little over $100,000 in margin that you should have every single year in terms of the sales tax to be able to spend on other projects for these next 6 years. And then once the debt certificate rolls off, you'll have a little more margin. It'll jump up to close to $250,000. And then those alternate revenue bonds will be fully paid off in 2040, or fiscal year 2040, calendar year 2039. One other thing to note, those bonds are callable December 1st of 2028. The call date is the first date that bonds are able to be refinanced on a tax exempt basis. So, you want to pay attention to interest rates between now and 2028. If interest rates are low enough to where they're below 4%, might make sense to refinance that and get a lower interest rate. If interest rates are above 4%, then you just kind of let it ride until rates make sense to refinance that. 2028 is your call date there to kind of pay attention to. So then flipping to the third page, we've got two bonds here. There's a Series 2019A, which is a working cash bond, and then the series in the orange here is the proposed working cash bond, which is on the agenda for tonight. Now, as far as the steps in the process, I've got a timeline on the next page, but this is not the final step the board needs to take. This is really just the first step to get the process started for a working cash bond, which is on the agenda for tonight. But in terms of the structure, if you look at the graph down at the bottom, it looks kind of screwy, admittedly, because if you you look at that first year of the levy, it's gonna jump up for 2 years and then come back down. And that is intentional, so the reason we set up that structure, if you look over to the right here, you can see the bond and interest levy where it's gonna step up to, going from 199,475 up to 422 that first year. However, my next column over says IMRF/Social Security offset. The plan would be to drop those funds levies by roughly 210,000 to basically make up for the difference, such that the net levy works out to be, pretty consistent with previous years. And then that will just step up by an escalator every single year, with thinking being you'll just be capturing your EAV growth each year with that step up. In terms of the IMRF and Social Security offset, that's something that can be decided every single year. So I'm putting sort of an estimate in this structure, but you'll have the ability to decide that every single November, December. As you go through your levy process, you can kind of look at, see where things are at, and maybe decide do we use a little more or a little less out of those funds, lower them or increase them to kind of offset the levy to keep that same slope where you want it to hopefully kind of control the tax rate every single year and make sure that the overall tax rate remains the same. That's kind of rough structure what we're looking at. Any questions about that for me? So then if we go to the fourth page, I've got a proposed timeline. Tonight what we have on the agenda is called the resolution of intent. That's kind of step one that you have to take to start the bonding process. If the board chooses to move forward with this step, then after this meeting we will publish 2 notices in the newspaper between now and 7 days before your June board meeting. At the June board meeting we will hold a public hearing. We also talked about potentially adopting a resolution to transfer money from the working cash fund to the ed fund. We could do that at the June board meeting if that's something that you want to do, but that's optional, so I put a question mark there. And then at the July board meeting, the district could come back and adopt a sale resolution. That's kind of the final, when you're actually making decisions in terms of what the structure would look like. And then closing, late July to early August is what you'd be looking at. Below that, I put the district's fund balances as of last year's audit. I apologize, that's kind of small print there, but just kind of give you an overview. You're looking at roughly $2 million in the education fund at year end, roughly $850 in the O&M fund, roughly $2 million in the working cash fund, and then roughly $600,000 in the IMRF/Social Security fund. They're combined into one fund on your books. They are 2 separate lines on your levy for what you levy with the county, but they're combined in one fund on your books. So that's kind of what we're looking at, and probably just need to sit down again with Dr. Field and kind of come up with a recommendation for the board between now and July. It's not something that has to be decided now, but whether the board wants to do this in the form of a self-purchase or an outside sale, we can do either one. It doesn't make any difference to me. I'm happy to do either one. And that's just kind of comes down to how comfortable you feel with your fund balances, your cash flow, and your liquidity and whatnot. Any questions for me about the process?
I don't think about the process. I guess I'm just wanting to make sure my main goal would be that we don't see any form of tax increase by doing it. So just watching that levy, those levy balances and keeping them run at the same amount, that's something you'll be doing then to maintain year to year, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's, obviously we've been through it before, I guess, a little different manner than this, but the self-funding, do you have any, opinion on that from your end, your scope of things, that you've seen good, bad, the other? What's your?
Well, certainly just from the standpoint of trying to maximize every dollar, if you can swing the self-purchase, I like it because you're earning interest rather than paying to an outside investor, right? But you have to balance that with your liquidity, how you feel, how comfortable you feel with cash flow, kind of what your expectations are for the next few years in terms of your different funding sources. So there's a lot of moving parts. If you can swing it, I always like self-purchase because you're earning interest instead of going to the bank or another investor.
And what are we seeing in our 1% right now, just in the last we're seeing an excess right now because people are paying or have been paying, for the same goods they've always bought, and, you know, just more money, obviously, because it costs more. But I'm just wondering what that trend is gonna do, if people are gonna be holding tighter to their pocketbooks, and we're gonna see that 1% actually go down, which is kind of a concern. But, that's why I just kind of wonder what you saw most recently, like in the last 3 months, if it's been affecting, and these gas prices.
We've seen a little bit less, but not a huge dip, just in the last 2 months. But then again, too, this would not be affected by that necessarily, because this would be, coming from the levy.
You're pulling it all out.
Yeah.
But we'd still be sitting good on what we are pulling.
In terms of sales tax.
Yes.
Yes.
What we're paying on the other, okay.
Yeah, looking good currently.
Okay.
2026A is off the books in 2030, is that right? Looking over to the left.
That's the one we're talking about tonight, the proposed one.
2026A is the debt certificate, that's what we did for the bus barn, and so what we've
Okay.
done in, I believe that's 6 years, correct?
Okay, yes,
Yeah, levy year 2030, but it's really calendar year 31. So I got 3 years listed on the
Yeah.
left there, and it's kind of confusing, but basically, you're always, you're levied, say, for example, this levy you did last year, you levied it in December of 2025, when the tax bills come out summer of 2026, and you make the payment, you know, December of 26, which is actually fiscal year 2027. So there's 3 years that you're sort of spanning, that you're looking at one line across there. That's why I list that levy year, due date year, and fiscal year. So it's kind of 3 different.
I'm gonna need some notes later, please.
There's kind of 3 different timings you gotta keep track of.
And your timeline here works whether we're self-funded or outsourcing, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of the sales tax proceeds, like I said, most districts have really been up this year. I mean, it's a tax that's based on the cost of goods, so as inflation happens, as everything costs more, you know, people are collecting more money off that. Certainly, gas is a big part of that, right? And so as gas is expensive, 1% of expensive gas is more, right? So I don't know in terms of if there's some sort of recession, you know, if that slows things down. To me, it kind of seems like the federal government just needs print money at this point to avoid a recession as much as they can, but.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? So tonight, we would just have on the agenda to approve the motion or
For the resolution.
The resolution,
Yes.
okay. All right. Do we need Kendall for anything else?
I think we're good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for coming.
appreciate it.
Next on is the consent agenda, which everybody received. Does anyone have any questions? So I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Jeff Stahl, is there a second?
Second.
Browning, call roll please.
Browning?
Yes.
Campbell? Yes. Guerrero?
Yes.
Over?
Yes.
Hooper? Yes. Stahl?
Yes.
Is that for anyone wanting to attend, joint annual conference in November? Sort of sweet, I think I told you I wanted to go, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I think there's a good chance I will cover it like they have.
Okay. And building reports, we all received them, any questions? I don't know if Ms. Wellbon, you were in here, but I commented earlier and thought preschool promotion was adorable last night. I'm glad you guys do that.
Yes.
Short, sweet, to the point, and cute, so.
I thought it was fantastic too.
It was cute. All right, superintendent's report.
Okay, first up, I got FOIA requests. I've shared with you the list. If you have any questions about those, I'll answer those at this time. Of course, we do have another special FOIA request thing that I'll share with you during closed session. But I provided you with the 26-27 enrollment projections based on our current numbers. As you can see, we are looking at the potential of an enrollment dip for next year, which has been pretty consistent with our last 10 years and 5 years that we've seen in trends. We're looking about roughly 20 students less based on these projections. Of of course, next year, we never really know what's gonna happen in August, which is why we do this again in August and September, to see what our final counts will be at that time, so they could be up 30, down another 20, who knows? But that's where we're at as of today. I shared the strategic plan scorecard with you. If anybody has any questions about that, I feel like we're making good progress there. Went through and kind of updated some notes with some dates and some other activities for you all on there. Bus barn update, and I'll still kind of put other facilities in there. We've had some other facilities updates to go on since Friday when I sent this out. Bus barn, as you may have seen out there, Sturdyville got the outer shell put together on it. Bodine has been in this week to start some electrical work, kind of figured some things out there. They have also begun on lean-tos, which happened today. So we're looking good. I have a meeting with the project coordinator coming up. We'll kind of look over timelines and see where we're at, but as long as the weather holds out, they've been moving pretty darn quick. So they made really good progress the last 2 weeks. That's going by very well. They're already working on some of the interior things now. I know the plumber was out kind of checking things out last week. We ought to be rolling pretty quick there on all that. We also have playground construction started. They were out there digging in the rain the other day. It was kind of a mess, but they're getting the excavation done. Tonight I will ask you to go ahead and approve pouring of the concrete curb so that we can do the board in place. I've got a quote from Hutchins Excavating on that. It came in lower than what the builders themselves were able to do. And so we get that laid up and cured, and they'll be able to come in and put the surfacing down, and the rubber mulch has already been delivered, so they can start applying some of that even before that happens. But yeah, they should be able to get it completed fairly quickly within that. So, looking good on that.
So the demo, is that gonna be done by us, of the old part?
The old part, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll take care of that whenever.
The rest part of their deal, they can't yank anything out, no?
No, they don't do any of the yanking. We handle the yanking on our own, and they do the build up, so.
Is there anything we're keeping or reusing?
I think we talked about keeping the red dome out there in the tire swing, and that would be good, especially for like ball games and stuff. And we would just kind of mulch that part in because it doesn't really wash out. I don't know about that one red swing set, if that would be something we would keep out there, but a lot of the other stuff that's pretty old and outdated, we're gonna yank and have kind of an open soccer field is the plan out there, kind of a little track, kind of rededicate the Welby Walk and have an outside area for the kids to play on there. But I think it'll be really nice to have an open space. Looking through there. I talked about the school bus fleet transition plan, kind of what we're looking there. I had hoped, we had our company that I had kind of discussed some things with them, and so I wanted to kind of move a little quicker on the resolution because they had talked to me about letting us out of a couple of our current leases in lieu of us getting into some new vehicles that were cheaper for us and the option to purchase those. Then the senior vice president of sales came along with the rep that I was talking to and said, we don't do that. We don't let people out of their leases early. And then they pitched me a new 3-year lease. They said, well, we'll let you out of your current lease into a new 3-year lease, but for cheaper, with less interest. But over time, again, we're paying new bus prices, but we're not getting any buses out of it. We'll have no equity at the end of it. And so the deal wasn't quite as sweet as I think they were trying to find it. But I have also would maybe not wanna do that because those buses have already been on our books for 3 years, and so we would lose that depreciation money after 2 years that we would get from the state back in our transportation reimbursement claim. I discussed that with our consultants. They've been in once. He was here for an 8-hour day. And so you talk about drinking water from the fire hose. We really started hammering through some stuff, and we already, without even digging into too much, we already found what we feel like are some cost savings that would help us cut right off the top in terms of our transportation claim and increase that claim. We did quite a bit to increase it this year, but he is hopeful that we would, through depreciation of some of the capital things that we have done, through some of the other structural changes that we will make, and standard operating procedure, that we are going to be able to recoup even more through that. That will be a lasting thing to that claim as well, prorated or not. It would be good. We'll also kind of look at balancing short-term leases versus, purchase of used buses, purchase of new buses, even opportunities for lease to own buses, where then after 5 years of paying, you pay a little bit more than you would pay on a lease, but then you own at the end of it. So really, the equity then that you get out of the bus after 5, 6, 7 years, whenever you decide to trade it in, really brings the cost of your paying down because you realize that equity. So I'll update you more on that. They're supposed to come back in June once we get the books kind of finally squared up a little bit more, and we'll start digging into the claim a bit deeper. But I think definitely some good plans within that. New business. Spoke to the attorney, and we have a couple board policy things here with the 121, and I asked about, do we need to do a first reading, a second reading? He said, you can forego the first reading and do the business in 1 month as long as you do a motion to waive that second reading. So I would suggest and recommend that you do that for the FMLA update and update 121 that we have coming up next on the agenda.
So I need a motion to waive the second reading of presented changes to the Board of Education policies as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Wood, is there a second?
Second.
Hilbert, call roll please.
Campbell? Yes. Guerrero?
Yes.
Hilbert?
Yes.
Leeper? Yes. Stahl?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
We don't usually do a second reading on press, do we?
Not on press.
No. So it's just really on the FMLA policy.
He said really, it would be probably, to do 2 readings would probably be the proper thing to do on each of them, even the press.
Okay.
And I was not aware of that. But he said for procedural changes and stuff like that, he goes, you're usually fine, as we have done, to just do it in 1 reading and be done. So he said no harm, no foul, but just moving forward, that would be his recommendation.
So motion, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Motion to adopt the presented changes to the Board of Education FMLA policy as presented.
So basically, we would be moving from a year of September 1 to August 31st that we currently have in the policy, and making it a rolling year, so that somebody cannot take FMLA leave, say in February of this year, and they take, exhaust all of their time, and then they come back in August, and then they exhaust all of their time again. It goes on a rolling year schedule, so that they cannot double dip, basically take 24 weeks off at the end of the year every district.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Leeper, is there a second?
Second.
Campbell, call roll please.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Hilbert?
Yes.
Leeper? Yes. Stahl?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes. And then press policy 121, I need a motion to adopt press policy update 121 as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Hilbert, is there a second?
I'll second.
Stahl, call roll please.
Hilbert?
Yes.
Leeper? Yes. Stahl?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Browning?
Yes.
Campbell? Yes. Guerrero?
Yes. Okay, budget.
All right, I shared the tentative amended budget with you. I will work to finalize these numbers by our June meeting. I don't expect there to be a tremendous amount of flux, but you never know the stuff that comes up, like, we just can't believe it. So I feel like we're pretty close on this one. Biggest points to see are there is a small deficit in education, which may be smaller, maybe a little bigger than that. We'll have to see how things shake out. It's about $6,000. O&M, we had about a $30,000 So, as you know, I like to overestimate expenses, underestimate revenue, and so that's kind of where I'm at. I will finalize a little bit closer to the sales tax when I get that in there, but I put a pretty conservative estimate in there when I was updating that. I think it'll actually come in a little higher than what I had in there. But that is pretty much it for the amended budget.
So I need a motion to accept the tentative FY '26 amended district budget as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Browning, is there a second?
I'll second.
Clerk, call roll please.
Stahl?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Browning?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Hilbert?
Yes.
Weaver? Yes.
Next up, we will need to have a hearing before the next board meeting for the tentative amended, or for the amended budget, as we usually do in June.
So motion to set the hearing for the FY '26 amended district budget as part of the regular board meeting and on June 17th at 6 P.M.
So moved.
Campbell, is there a second?
Second.
Browning, call roll please.
Wood?
Yes.
Browning?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Hilbert?
Yes.
Weaver? Yes. Stahl?
Yes.
It is that time of year again for us to renew our contract with Aramark, so I would recommend that you renew that for another year.
All right, do I have a motion to renew the contract with Airmark for the 26-27 school year as presented?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Stahl, I'll second, call roll please.
Browning?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Hilbert?
Yes.
Weaver? Yes. Stahl?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Our health insurance renewal came in, slowly but surely. We finally got it in, and kind of put us under the gun. Our broker had some personal stuff going on that had a little trouble getting it to us. But it was good news when we did get it, at seeing only a 0.57% increase. Our loss ratio was really, really good. So we only saw roughly about a $6 per person increase for this year. I think still in the future, we need to look at maybe offering some other options for folks. But we do have the luxury this year to come in under our promised amount with the association. And so this is not gonna increase our cost a tremendous amount, although it will be just a little bit. But I would recommend that you go ahead and accept the health insurance renewal from Blue Cross Blue Shield.
All right, motion to approve the bid for health insurance for the 26-27 school year with Blue Cross Blue Shield for the amount of $938.56 per employee per month.
So moved.
Motion made by Browning, is there a second?
Second.
Hilbert, call roll please.
Campbell?
Yes.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Hilbert?
Yes.
Weaver? Yes. Stahl?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All right, next up, we're discussing consideration of board members attending the IASB annual conference, November 22nd, 20th through 22nd. And I was just gonna see who was interested in going. I know Stephanie said that she was, as well as Martha. Is anybody else interested in attending the school board conference?
I can maybe.
Okay.
It's my birthday.
So we have Stephanie, Martha, Jessica, nobody else.
Now, June
Interested.
1st, the registration opens, so is that when you need our hard and fast?
Yeah, I will need it, so that I can get hotel rooms and stuff booked, in a timely manner. I would also need to know if your spouse is going, and, when you plan to get there.
Okay. They did say also that they're not going to be sending registration and your name things and everything to the school this year. You'll get those on site.
Oh, on site, okay. So we need a motion to approve members of the Board of Education to attend the annual conference.
So moved.
Motion made by Browning, is there a second?
Second.
Wood, call roll please.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Hilbert?
Yes.
Weaver? Yes. Stahl?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
All right, next up, we have a motion to hire Kerber, Eck, and Brakel, KEB, as our auditors for the 26-27 school year at a cost not to exceed $32,750.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Leeper, yes, Stahl,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Browning.
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Ferrero.
Yes.
Okay, next up, Dunn Company won the bid for the parking lot renovations at Sangamon Valley Primary School. And the total cost that they had on the three parking lots was $111,396.30. My recommendation at this time to save money would be to forego doing the far north parking lot, which would save us about $13,000. Bring our cost down to $98,000. But once we apply the cost of the engineering that it took, that will take us up, a little bit more money, but we did get the school improvement grant for $50,000, so we could put that towards the whole, of the bill, which would then make our cost about $61,000, as I put in your recommendation, so.
So the
So is that-
98 goes up to the 111?
With the engineering cost, correct. So the engineering cost was about the same cost as the north parking lot.
Okay.
So
And
the,
north-
oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
What I was thinking, so this bid does not have the north lot in it, but it's got your engineering costs.
It does not have the engineering costs in it.
It has the north lot.
So the
But I
north
couldn't
lot-
tell where the north lot was in all this. I couldn't
Yeah, and
come up
that's,
with-
I had him send it to me because he had to do it by the square yardage. And so
Okay.
the cost of it was $13,062.60
Okay,
to do, and that's basically to do an oil and chip of that north lot, which I think is not needed. I had put it in there just in case we did not reach the number that we needed to have to meet the state requirement.
so that was in this 111 then?
It is.
So, right, so,
But then he backed it out and he added the engineering in.
Correct, which we've already
came up with the
approved.
exact same amount.
Almost.
Almost.
$400 difference.
Yeah, okay, that's where I was, oh, you said you took something out, but it's exactly. what
So I left the motion as not to exceed the
Okay.
111,000, but we are not going to exceed it, we're going to do it for less.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so motion to award the bid to Dunn Company for the parking lot rehabilitation and replacement at Sangamon Valley Primary at a cost to the district not to exceed $111,396.30.
But, wait a minute, because is engineering coming out of something else? Because it does exceed that.
We've already approved the engineering.
Oh, we did.
Before we ever did the project
Okay.
start, so it's
Okay.
already been done and paid.
Gotcha.
Yep.
This doesn't
Okay.
include any modifications that we had previously talked about at one time on the south side.
This does include that, so this will do the bus turnaround in the south side.
That's what I was curious, okay.
With 3 coats of oil and chip. It'll redo the oil and chip in that, then we will reseal the north parking lot, on the asphalt there. But then we will not touch the far north parking lot, which is where we will then have staff park there, we'll have parents come in on the asphalt, and then we'll have buses come in on the south parking lot to do the
I
turnaround.
looked at the bid deck, so I was curious if it was a modification you were talking about.
And then this will also do a fresh coat, on the very back lane too. So it should cover all of that with the exception of that north lot. I may have them patch while they're there at the cost per square foot if there is anything that we notice as being like a really bad, like pothole that could fill up in the north lot, but I don't foresee that being a great cost. It'd just be a few bucks probably.
You're talking north lot like Linda's house?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in pretty darn good shape still.
So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Wood, is there a second?
Second.
Campbell, call roll please.
Stahl,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Browning.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Ferrero.
Yes.
Hilbert.
Yes.
Leeper, yes.
Sorry, guys, I got a lot of complex moving parts in this.
No.
Oh, yeah, I was with you until you said not to exceed, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Now I got it.
The next one's simple though, and that's just to award a bid to Hutchins Excavating to install concrete curb for the playground not to exceed $11,000, sorry.
So moved.
This is the new playground.
The new playground of Sangamon Valley Primary.
They're putting a sidewalk in there, and they're gonna do them at the same time, so.
I'll make a motion, is there a second? Second. Campbell, call roll please.
Wood,
Yes.
Browning.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Ferrero.
Yes.
Hilbert.
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Stahl.
Yes.
Can I speak on playgrounds for a second?
Yes, sir.
that playground we just put in, there's no way that we can, I understand it's there, a lot of people use it for public use. I've just seen some heavy use on it, by people that shouldn't be on it.
I'm not so sure we should knock it off somehow.
I'm just curious, and I mean, it's across all board, you got visiting people, visiting people don't know.
Sure.
You
And
got a
that's what I'm
lot.
seeing more of as kids that I don't recognize, and it's,
I
their own
think it would be
stuff.
helpful to put a sign, I've noticed that there's at a park in Warrensburg, there's a sign that says for use from, and it gives an age, which may help, that's only if parents are going to
That's-
enforce
yes,
that.
I
But
understand.
also padlocking is not a bad idea.
I'm just, after the money's spent on it, I don't wanna see anything, what's
Because
meant for
it's-
smaller kids, I guess.
And right
And it's
now,
hard to
the
control.
only, kind of the only part, I mean, the only nice stuff,
Right.
they're all going to that
Yes.
playground from all ages. And
But
it's
How hard it's
getting
gonna
a
be
lot of
police
use.
outside the
The new
box.
part is gonna be done in 2 weeks, and so then.
It'll shut
it's a
off some of
whole
it, yes, yes, yeah.
Different
It's
thing.
not a bad idea to label it, like you
Yeah.
said, that it's
2 to
intended
5 years
for.
old.
I just, you know, it's public property, I don't think that we should block it.
Well, it's a
And I
short
understand.
fence too, so,
Yeah.
I don't know that they won't just jump over it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too, I've seen, I watched, when literally there's a gate right there, I've watched older kids climbing the fence, when there's an open gate right there.
Can we just pay you a stipend to just go sit
You want
there
me
at
to?
the fence and
Matt
just
Wood,
be the
security guard?
marshal?
Hey, listen,
I
whatever
yelled at him already, so.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be a stickler, I just wanna make sure that it lasts, somebody will spend on
Show
it.
some respect.
Ms. Wellbaum, could you check in on some signage that denotes that? We may
Must be
ask
this
Pat,
tall
we may
to
What
put
type
on.
of summer hours do you wanna work?
Now listen, I have 2 little children at home.
Are they between the years of 2 and 5?
Yes.
Yes, they are, actually.
They would be eligible,
They would be
yes.
so
Well,
what?
perfect, they come play in security.
It should be one of those little signs, like a little bear that says you must be
Yeah.
shorter than this to play in here.
I mean, yeah, like I said, at the end of the day, it's just the respect of the people, but a lot of them were people I don't even know, so I'm guessing they were from other towns, so,
Come in.
yeah.
Well, and it's just, they don't, the other kids playing, so the
Oh,
kid's
yeah,
off playing,
absolutely,
playing the
absolutely.
game, so he's off, yeah. Parents have no idea what's happening.
No harm, no foul, just wanna try to make it last.
Sure.
If we can.
Okay, moving on.
Next up, we've got our intergovernmental agreement for making PIAP ROE for our Safe School program, as well as futures and option 3, which is a truancy program. I recommend that you approve it.
We have a motion,
So moved.
motion made by Brownie, is there a second?
Second.
Stahl, call roll please.
Browning?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Hilbert?
Yes.
Leeper? Yes. Stahl?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Next up is another intergovernmental agreement. This is for AWOP, and this is for our impact liaison. We just interviewed a new one to replace Mrs. Whitworth, and she has a lot of that same energy and a lot of the same know-how. We think she's gonna be an awesome fit. And I also got finalized numbers from the ROE. Basically, for us to house that program last year, it cost us under $200, which was really nice. And so we hope that it happens again. But we are really excited about our new person, so I would suggest that you make a motion to approve this.
Okay, so this will be the motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with Macon Pyatt Regional Office of Education to provide ALAP impact program for the 26-27 school year.
So moved.
Motion made by Campbell, is there a second?
Second.
Brownie, call roll please.
Campbell?
Yes.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Hilbert?
Yes.
Leeper? Yes. Stahl?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Up next, we have the motion to approve the resolution of intent to issue $1,540,000 working cash bond funds to increase the district's working cash fund. I think this is a very good thing to do, especially in the uncertainty of these times,
What,
to increase our reserves, but also to get us into a self-purchase transportation situation, which I think will benefit the district long-term.
that's what I was just gonna ask, are you earmarking it specifically for that, and if we can't do that for a year, do you still feel we go ahead and do this a year ahead of time, I guess is my.
I think it would be good, and then we could go ahead and put that in the CDs to be earned in the meantime.
I think he said we wouldn't close until August or September too late.
Yeah,
So
it'll be-
it's several months from now.
Yeah, and that kind of gives us time to plan, like, when because the levy will be done in roughly November
straight in my head. We're doing this so that we can self-fund down the road.
So, yeah, when our lease is
That,
up.
when our lease is up,
Yeah.
then we can self-fund purchasing our own buses. We won't have to outsource.
We pay ourselves the interest.
That's a choice to make in the future. Basically, you're getting the working cash bonds, and then we have to decide if we're going to self-fund. This would be for those purchases that he wants to make, but then come August, July, whenever we do it, then we would have to decide if we're gonna outsource the financing of it or do it in-house. But
Yeah.
either way, getting the same amount, for the same purpose.
But then, yeah, it would be dependent on like what the bus prices are, but my plan would be currently to, probably do some lease to own on some newer buses and then maybe buy some newer used buses. And then we may have to lease short-term some other buses. Some are, and, I mean, they are safe to do so. Like those, and I'm not saying that we would necessarily keep them that long either, depending on what happens. You know, you may wanna trade them off, you know, get more equity out of them, but those would be buses that we would put fewer miles on over time. Given this, you know, the regular route buses, I would say, you know, those are being driven every day, twice a day, you know, certain trips and things like that. Those are ones we need to replace on maybe a shorter scale. The optimal timing would probably be 5 to 6 years trading those out, but at a staggered rate so that you're not trading them all out at once.
Did we not purchase a maintenance contract for lease company also?
We do have one. Yeah,
What was that, what was that cost? You have
$30,000.
A year.
Per year.
And that's.
That's-
So that's, is that anything under the sun, or is that
No,
just your
that's
basic,
basic.
new oil filter, rotate
Correct.
tires? Okay.
Yeah, and then anything that we have, like, you know, somebody tries to steal a battery out from us, and cuts the battery cables, that's an extra added cost. So if, you know, a bumper, you know, the driver backs into something and rips the bumper off, that's an extra added cost. We've taken care of some of that stuff actually in-house.
So I know the new transportation, people that you had brought in to overlook, things have only been here once for 8 hours. Are they, I mean, what is their stance on buying at least, do they feel we have a better, have they
think
thought about that?
They are adamant that buying buses is the way to go. They think that leasing is the biggest rip-off of all time.
Well, I think so too, in normal circumstances, like I don't lease a vehicle for that reason, but, I just didn't know when you come into, you know, this big of a fleet and having
Sure.
to make sure everyone's safe on a daily basis, I wasn't sure what that was, but if they're all behind it, I guess that helps me.
There's a lot of districts that are starting to shift that way as well, because they do see, you know, the merit in it, especially when like the current lease we're in, I think our interest rate is 6.75%. I think they're getting lower now, like 5, but it's still a lot of money that we're putting out there with nothing to show for it at the end of the day.
So, back to this one, are you earmarking, obviously, the bus purchases and the swap out? Is there anything else earmarked for this? That one big money for?
I mean, it's not that, it's solely for the bus purchases to start, you know, redoing the fleet. Since it's going into working cash, however, though, if anything were to change, we could switch gears. That would also still leave us with our other working cash reserves. And if we decide not to self-purchase, like I know the self-purchase looks great, you make $500,000 over that amount of time, back in interest to yourself. However, you're tying up some of your funds from the ed fund and some of your working cash funds in order to finance that, which you still have all that money, but you lose the liquidity of it. And so I am leaning more now towards doing a purchase from outside, paying that interest out in order to get the liquidity of that over time. And that is, me just, I was looking at it and Mr. King said, no, you've got the ability to do this, you can make it happen. You know, it's just gonna be this amount of time that you have to balance things out. But me being a little more conservative on it, I would like to take the safest route possible. And I think this is the safest route possible in order to do this. And also, you know, once we see the new contract come in, anything that seems to happen with the EAV or anything like that, that would negatively affect us, I don't think that's gonna happen. You know, then we are able to pivot.
So all we're doing tonight is voting to intend to do this. We're not doing it for a while.
Correct.
So we can change our minds. And we can still change our minds. Cause are the bus people coming back before July? I'm sorry, I know you said it earlier, but.
Oh, our transportation consultants, yes.
Yeah.
So,
So for anybody else have any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay. So for this evening, we need a motion to approve a resolution of intent to issue $1.54 million in working cash fund bonds to increase the district's working cash fund.
So,
Motion made by Leeper, is there a second?
Second.
Wood, call roll, please.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Hilbert,
No.
Leeper, yes, Stahl,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Okay, and now we need to go into closed session.
I got 6:58, 7:21.
All right, I need, is this all? Is that all? Motion to accept the closed session minutes as read in closed session.
So,
First by Wood, second by
Second.
Browning. Call roll, please.
Wood,
yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes.
Hilbert.
Yes.
Leeper, yes, Stahl.
Yes.
All right, I need a motion to accept the irrevocable letter of retirement of Lou Ellen Beeson effective August 10th, 2026. Motion made by Hilbert, is there a second?
Second.
Browning, roll.
Browning,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Leeper, yes, Stahl.
Yes.
Wood.
Motion to accept the irrevocable letter of retirement of Timothy Rhodes effective at the end of the 2029-2030 school year.
So moved.
Motion made by Campbell, is there a second?
Second.
Hilbert, call roll.
Campbell,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Leeper, yes, Stahl.
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Motion to accept the irrevocable letter of retirement of Kenneth Chakowski effective at the end of the 2029-2030 school year. Motion made by Hilbert, I'll second it, call roll please.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Leeper, yes, Stahl.
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Browning.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
And a motion to accept the resignation of Nicole Christensen as middle school, high school art teacher effective at the end of the 25-26 school year.
So moved.
Motion made by Stahl, second.
Second.
Campbell, call roll please.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Leeper, yes, Stahl.
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Browning.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes. Motion to accept the resignation of Susan Hagan as middle school assistant scholastic bowl coach effective immediately.
So moved.
Motion made by Hilbert. Is there a second?
Second.
Browning, call.
Stahl.
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Browning.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes.
Hilbert.
Yes.
Leeper, yes.
Motion to accept the resignation of James Marksberry as high school girls basketball coach effective immediately.
So
I'll make-
moved.
Ooh, go ahead.
So moved, Madam President.
Stahl,
Oh, I thought it
second.
was Josh.
Hilbert. I
Who's the
think it was
second?
all three of us, Hilbert.
You're giving the second to
Trifecta.
Hilbert?
Yeah.
Got it. Wood,
Yes.
Browning.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes.
Hilbert.
Yes.
Leeper, yes, Stahl.
Yes.
Motion to accept the resignation of Alyssa Willie as an at-will benefited paraprofessional and non-benefited bus driver effective May 1st, 2026.
So can I just ask, so she did submit a letter then? We didn't get it right. I just saw in that letter from,
Oh, it should have been in there.
was it in there?
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah.
It's like right before.
It is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I read all of your stuff and I saw that she was given the option to resign. I missed that, so I'm sorry. Okay.
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second. Call roll, please.
Browning.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes.
Hilbert.
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Stahl.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
And then a motion to employ Elizabeth Hanley as part-time school social worker effective at the start of the 26-27 school year.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Call roll, please.
Campbell.
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes.
Hilbert.
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Stahl.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Motion to employ Mackenzie Cisco as an at-will benefited paraprofessional effective at the start of the 26-27 school year.
So moved.
Motion Motion made by Browning, is there a second?
Second.
Wood, call roll please.
Guerrero,
Yes?
Hilbert,
Yes.
Leeper, yes, Stahl,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Browning,
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Are those the same?
Yeah, that was a mistake there.
Motion to accept a contract addendum for Kylie Burge at SVHS principal for the 26-27 school year.
So moved.
Motion made by Browning, is there a second?
Second.
Leeper, call roll please.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Leeper, yes, Stahl,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Browning.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes. Motion to accept a contract addendum for Jonathan Downing at SVMS principal for the 26-27 school year. Motion made by Wood, is there a second?
I'll second.
Stahl, call roll please.
Stahl,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Browning.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Leeper, yes.
Motion to accept a contract addendum for Christina Sommer as SVIS principal for the 26-27 school year.
So moved.
Motion made by Hilbert, is there a second?
Down here, Wood.
Wood, call roll please.
Wood,
Yes.
Browning,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Leeper, yes, Stahl.
Yes.
Motion to accept a contract addendum for Bethany Walbaum as SVPS principal for the 2026-2027 school year. Motion made by Wood, is there a second?
Second. Oh,
Leeper, call roll please.
Browning,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Leeper, yes, Stahl.
Yes.
Yes.
The hearing for the 2026 amended district budget will be held on June 17th at 6 P.M. with the regular meeting to begin immediately after. At this time, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Wood, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Joe Hilbert, all in favor?